Teachers wanted bus drivers. We'll show you the need in the state's largest school district. Plus, blondes versus brunettes, the game that raises attention to an ever-growing problem. But first, presidential politics lands in Brooklyn Center as a candidate from Wisconsin touts his health care plan. 12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. Republican presidential candidate Scott Walker paid a visit to Brooklyn Center today.
He unveiled his health care plan at a manufacturing business, and 12 News reporter Sonia Goins has more on Walker's visit.
Now this morning, Governor Walker toured Cast Screw Machine Products Company. He says his health care plan would benefit small businesses like this one, where health care premiums have gone up. Governor Scott Walker smiled for the cameras and shook hands with employees as he toured the 70-year-old Cast Screw Machine business. He even took time out to take a selfie with one of the workers.
I figured they were interjecting enough to take a picture, right?
After the brief tour, Governor Walker got down to business, taking aim at President Obama and the Affordable Care Act.
We've got to repeal Obamacare entirely. Lock, stock, and barrel.
Walker's plan is called the Day One Patient Freedom Plan.
We want affordable and accessible health insurance for everyone in America.
The plan includes tax credits for people who can't get coverage through work. People could also shop for health insurance across state lines. Walker would also include coverage for people with pre-existing conditions. He didn't reveal how much his plan would cost, but says it would lower premiums.
Once you encourage more competition when it comes to insurers and healthcare providers, you're going to see healthcare premiums go down for everyone.
I would like some help.
The CEO of Cast Screw and Machine Company says high healthcare premiums are hurting his bottom line.
We saw a 36% increase in our healthcare this year. It was giant. That's hard to make up in productivity.
Wise says he wants some relief for his employees, who he says are now shelling out more for health insurance.
Plan design didn't change at all, but the premiums that are taken out of their paycheck went up 15%, and that sucks.
Now, next week, Democratic presidential candidates will visit the Twin Cities when the Democratic National Committee holds its summer meetings. Candidates expected to attend include Democratic frontrunners Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. Wise says any of those candidates are welcome to come visit the company and talk about health care reform. Mike and Alex?
All right, thank you very much, Sonia. And in a crowded field with 17 Republican candidates running for president, Governor Scott Walker's visit to Minnesota was a strategic one.
Once a frontrunner in Iowa, Walker has slipped behind Donald Trump. So Minnesota is a place to build a new safe base or firewall, says Hamlin political science professor David Schultz.
He picks a state that nobody else, in terms of Republicans, have visited yet, and so he gets to carve off Minnesota very early, because we do have caucuses early in February.
Schultz says by coming to Minnesota, Walker also takes advantage of its proximity to Wisconsin, where he's been governor since 2011. Walker can pick up local media coverage here instead of at the Iowa State Fair, where Donald Trump is getting all the national media coverage. Minnesota also provides a place where Walker can test out some new themes.
It's a gamble. It's clearly a gamble that he's taking by doing this. But given the fact that, again, that his poll numbers in the last few weeks have really been steadily going down as Trump's have been going up, he needs to do something to reinvigorate his campaign. And maybe this is what he believes is his best shot.
The Iowa caucuses are coming up on February 1st.
The city of Crystal is seeking feedback from residents to help shape future priorities. The brief 11-question survey asked residents how they feel about the city and also gathers opinions on public safety and street maintenance. Public comment will be taken through October 10th. Not only will the feedback be used for day-to-day priorities, but also it'll be used in developing budget options.
A major development project in Maple Grove is now suddenly in limbo. The developer behind the Village at Arbor Lakes project, Kelly Doran, says he will withdraw his application after there was city council disagreement over a traffic study. The Village at Arbor Lakes proposal calls for up to 700 luxury apartments, as well as restaurants, hotels, a grocery store, and a potential medical office building. It would be built on the last undeveloped corner of the Arbor Lake shopping area at Elm Creek Boulevard and Hemlock Lane. However, the City Council raised concerns about the traffic impact, and by a 3-2 vote, the city tabled the project to allow time for a traffic study. The developer had agreed to do a traffic transparent study if the concept design was approved, but the majority of the council wanted that done before that. 12 News did seek comment from both the city and the developer to see where the project stands. A Maple Grove official says the city has yet to receive anything in writing to indicate the application is withdrawn. Doran Companies, meantime, did not provide an answer before we went to air to signal its intent. With the start of school coming up in 2 weeks, most kids and parents are looking for new clothes and supplies.
Some school bus companies, however, are looking for drivers. Eric Nelson joins us now to take a look at the need. Eric?
All right, Alex and Mike, in parts of the Twin Cities, the bus driving job market is ultra competitive. In other areas of the metro, companies are almost begging for drivers. One thing is certain, these are vital jobs because the buses carry precious cargo.
The most precious cargo, and the qualifications to drive a bus, from criminal background checks to drug tests to clean driving records, those types of things. We want the right people working with kids. And so not just anybody can walk in and apply for a job.
First Student is one of the bus carriers in the Northwest Burbs. They are trying to recruit drivers by paying $16 an hour and offering a $1,000 sign-on bonus. Many drivers are retirees. Others are parents looking for schedules similar to their kids. School bus companies say getting drivers hired is crucial because the clock is ticking.
Holy cow, school's going to start pretty soon. It is crunch time for everybody. We're getting all our routes together, and actually bus pass information for orientation is going out on Friday, and then next week we put bus pass information out for the start of the school year.
And Alex and Mike, Anoka Hennepin schools say that riding a school bus also reduces someone's carbon footprint and decreases traffic. A bus full of kids is equivalent to 36 cars.
Wow.
Yeah.
They need those drivers.
Absolutely.
Holy cow, I hope they find the drivers.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Crunch time.
At Weaver Lake Elementary, there was a fundraiser that seemed to hit home with kids. Kids enrolled in the summer KidStop program collected 300 sets of pajamas and more than $2,400. It's for a group called Sweet Dreams for Kids. They donate the pajamas to children who are in hospitals for long stays. Wendy Berezovsky founded the organization 7 years ago after her youngest daughter was born with cancer and repeatedly hospitalized. She says new pajamas can be like a touch of home for a child.
It's a good pick-me-up because hospital pajamas are very uncomfortable and not very fun looking. So the fun pajamas that we give the kids, it really does make them smile, makes them feel a little bit more like at home.
And most of the money came from bake sales and car washes that the kids and their families participated in. Since its beginning in 2008, Sweet Dreams has donated more than 10,000 pairs of pajamas to kids in hospitals around the country. Coming up, a national health crisis that continues to grow.
We are talking about Alzheimer's disease. We will show you the local effort to raise awareness. And then later in sports, we get ready for a big prep football opener between Champlin Park and Minnetonka. We catch up with the Rebels.
But first, less rain on Wednesday, though still cool and mostly cloudy. The city of New Hope is awaiting the opening of a new clinic, the likes of which the city hasn't had before. North Memorial Healthcare is building a new family practice clinic at 42nd and Xylon Avenues next to the Hy-Vee grocery store, also under construction. It's moving from the Rockford Road location in Plymouth, which North Memorial officials say wasn't very visible to patients. The move certainly has New Hope city officials excited.
I think they're going to bring a wellness to the community that we haven't seen before. We haven't had a clinic like this ever come to New Hope, and the fact that it's a North Memorial is really special.
This is a family practice clinic, so anything from preventive services to acute care, so sore throats and ear infections to chronic disease management, so patients with diabetes or hypertension can also receive care here. And then we do offer specialty services. We have a rheumatologist that provides care here. We also have a dermatologist in podiatry as well.
The North Memorial Clinic in New Hope is expected to be ready to see patients in February. Alzheimer's disease is considered by some to be the biggest public health crisis of our time.
It is the 6th leading cause of death in the United States, and in Minnesota the disease affects more than 11% of the senior population. But efforts are being made to change that. In today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland looks at what people are doing locally to help treat the disease and find a cure.
On a soggy field in Minneapolis,
Get up, break it down!
a group of more than a dozen women prepare for an epic battle on the gridiron featuring an age-old rivalry.
Oh yeah, I got this.
The blondes versus the brunettes.
We put together a flag football game and we raise money, and we have one big game where we spend about 3 months prepping and getting ready for, and it's kind of a big support of the Alzheimer's Association and what goes on.
Swap out his bullets.
Kylie Swanson of Brooklyn Park is one of the players representing Team Blonde. She's participating in honor of her grandfather.
My grandpa was actually diagnosed with Alzheimer's about 3 years ago, and then it also runs on my mom's side of the family, and it's just, it's a scary disease.
So Alzheimer's is the most common type.
According to officials from the local Alzheimer's Association,
Alzheimer's is the public health crisis of our time.
the disease is becoming an even larger problem.
Over the next 30 years, that rate is set to triple the number of people that will develop Alzheimer's or another dementia. Caregiving costs will also go up extraordinarily.
The money raised by these young women will help provide programs and services for people who are living with the disease in Minnesota. And earlier this year, the Minnesota legislature set aside $1 million for Alzheimer's research.
It's unprecedented. And there are 2 other states in the United States where state governments have given money, and one is Texas and one is Florida.
It's a large problem that isn't going away anytime soon. But with something as simple as a flag football game, these women are doing what they can to help future generations live in a world without Alzheimer's.
Because the more money we raise, it helps the cause just that much more.
For Health Check, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
The Blondes versus Brunettes football game takes place on Saturday, August 29th at noon at Concordia University in St. Paul. Last year, they raised more than $170,000. That's a lot of money.
Wow, good for them.
Still ahead, a story that will put you in a deep freeze.
But first, we'll pay a visit to the improving Armstrong Falcons as they get set for the kickoff of high school football this weekend. John Jacobson is in next.
The Champlin Park Rebels were a senior heavy football team in 2014. So this preseason, there's a lot of work to be done. Here's Jason Malillo with the first of today's 2 training camp reports.
With only 2 returning starters on offense, training camp is a constant work in progress for the Rebels.
There's a lot of holes, but yeah, it's going to happen that way. This is that year. We have 2 wide receivers back that have played a lot of wideout for us, and they need to be leaders and they need to step up for us.
The biggest hole to fill might be at quarterback. 3 players are vying for the starting job. Josh Gilliam and Chad Costello are juniors, and Bennett Otto is a freshman. None saw any time on varsity last season.
We got a scrimmage here coming up, and we'll see how that goes. And then once we get that scrimmage in, I get to make a pick. And then that's where we're going to ride till Saturday.
The Rebels are pretty set when it comes to running and catching the football. Eldridge Joyce and Brandon Oxley are back as the team's go-to wideouts, and junior Romello Atkins is slated to be the starting tailback.
I like to make contact with people, so I like to run through people, and once I get to the second level, I like to use my agility, and then I can catch out of the backfield.
On defense, Champlin has a good core of returning players, but everyone is learning a new system. That's because Tom Van Voris returns as defensive coordinator after a 4-year hiatus, during which he followed his son AJ's college career at North Dakota State. AJ is also on the staff this season as the defensive backs coach.
It plays it easier, so then I think it makes it easier for our defense to actually understand and play. And it's more like some college stuff, college next level stuff. You really understand, he really gets you there.
With a shortened preseason and a lot of guys fighting to be starters, training camp is a whirlwind. But an atmosphere of competition also pushes players to work hard, and the Rebels hope to carry that into the regular season. Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
Champlin Park returns 2 starters on offense and 6 on defense. Last year's record was 5-4. And this is Mike Corton's 12th season as head coach. Rebels open at home against Minnetonka on Saturday afternoon. The Armstrong football team has some experience back from a team that showed signs of improvement last fall. Jay Wilcox has their training camp report.
For some programs, 3 regular season wins wouldn't be anything to get excited about, but it was a step forward for Armstrong last fall, and they're ready to build on that.
We've been working really hard, man, and we got Coach Nagan, who just came in and started head coaching last year, and he's been definitely turning around this program.
Having a game at the end of week 2 of practice this season is a shock to the system for all of the coaches, but Falcons leader Jack Nagan says better this year than last.
It is quick, and you know, I'm sure there's some people that are nervous about it. Personally, I'm just glad it's this year rather than last year, you know, because last year it would have been really quick, you know, being first year and everything new. So, you know, I think we're a little more prepared for it this year, but it comes quick.
The Falcons have a lot of experience back. Punishing linebacker and running back Thomas Barber is committed to the Gophers. Defensive end Chance Bowen was an all-conference pick. Safety Jack Layus, wide receiver True Thompson, and running backs Amadou Dunbar and Evan McClellan are others to watch. Collis Barber has some experience at quarterback, and a veteran offensive line should open some holes to make this a more potent attack.
The offense is a lot better this year. We know we can score points this year, and that's going to be the difference this year. Our offense is going to be more firepower this year.
The defense has a new coordinator, but a lot of players back and should be solid.
And again, a lot of returning defensive guys. I feel really good on that side of the ball, obviously with Thomas back and Jack Layus and Chance, and we had some all-conference guys from last year and all returning. So, you know, I feel pretty good where we're at there right now.
There's no doubt Armstrong is better than they were a few years ago. How many wins that will lead to is the big question. Jay Wilcox, 12 Sports.
Here's a recap of the Falcons. They were 3-6 in Jack Nagan's first season. 5 starters return on offense and 7 on D. They open Saturday afternoon at home against Chanhassen. And that's a look at sports for today.
All right, thanks, John. Up next, it gives us the chills just thinking about it.
A reason to think ahead to winter, even though it's still summer when we come back.
And finally, of course, it's still summer, but the Three Rivers Park District is already looking ahead to the next much colder season.
It is recruiting volunteers for outdoor winter activities, including the Ski Patrol. The Three Rivers Alpine Ski Patrol is a highly trained group of first responders. They volunteer to help guests in need, including medical problems along trails. It's for skiers of all ages, and officials say they are recruiting early to allow time to get the first aid certifications made before the snow flies. And you know, we're not too anxious for snow to fly, but they have to get started early, and there are some of these people who have done this for years and years, and they're always looking for new help on the trails.
Look like seasoned pros in those pictures.
Yep. That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Community Corner is coming up next.